Hello everyone, today we are going to be doing a mobility / stretching routine. Mobility is going to be so important for staying young, being able to freely move your body, enhance performance, and just keep you feeling very well overall. So we are going to be doing a total body routine. So we're going to work from the toes all the way up. So we're going to start in a kneeling position. We are going to have the foot further away because we're going to start by stretching out the hip flexor, by pushing our hips forward, and then we're going to stretch out the hamstring by rocking our body weight back and straightening out that leg. Now you'll notice throughout this mobility routine, we are stretching the muscle, but we're not going to be holding a position for very long. Mobility is stretching through movement. So we're going to be constantly moving throughout this whole entire routine. Good. Go ahead and just keep rocking back and forth. This is a fantastic way to start your day, to end your night. In all of our warm-ups, we do mobility before we work out. If you are just feeling extra stiff, this will be a great video to do some bonus mobility before you work out. Okay, so now we're going to take the foot and we're going to pull it in closer because we are going to be stretching that ankle. So I'm going to be pushing my knee forward. Big key for this is to keep the heel on the ground. Just like we were doing before, we're going to rock back and forth with just a little bit of a smaller motion. It's so funny because not a lot of people stretch out their ankles and their feet, but that is the foundation for us. If we have mobility issues with our grounding aspect of our body, it can work the way up the chain. It can cause knee problems, it can cause hip issues, back issues, all of that stuff. So really paying attention to every joint in your body is very important. Awesome. We're going to go ahead, switch to the other side. We're going to start with what we began with. So having that foot a little bit further out, so then that way when we push our hips forward, we can feel a nice stretch in that hip flexor. And then when we rock back and straighten out the leg, we can feel a nice stretch in that hamstring. Now, just like any other time when we stretch, we want it to be a nice, easy, relaxing stretch. We don't want to force our body into a position where it's super uncomfortable to hold. The whole point of stretching is to be able to relax into that position. Because if we are forcing our body into a position it does not want to be in, our muscles are going to tense up. And that's just a safety mechanism. And if our muscles are tensing up, we're not going to get as much out of the stretching as we need to. Good, let's do that. Rock back one more time. Awesome. Go ahead, move that foot a little bit closer. Just pushing that knee forward, making sure that heel stays on the ground. Feeling a nice stretch in that ankle. Just a nice little rock back and forth. Now, even though we are stretching out our ankle, we want to make sure that our core is always tucked in. We're sitting up nice and tall. We're trying to have that perfect posture. Especially because I just got done saying you want to relax throughout these movements. It's very easy to kind of slunch and go through the motion. We always want to be very aware of good posture. One more time. Awesome, okay. We're going to rotate on our mat. We are going to go into a nice low squat position. So we're gonna have feet underneath the hips. If you need to have your feet a little bit wider, feel free to. Those toes are going to slightly point out. We're driving our knees out to the side, and we're gonna sit as low as we can. To help with some balance, you can put your elbows inside of the knees. We want to try to keep that chest up as much as possible. We don't want to be rolling forward. Again, if this is a new position for you, balance is going to be pretty tricky. So if you need to hold on to something in front of you, if it's a chair, to make sure it's heavy enough that you can hold on to, or even like a heavy dumbbell or kettlebell, you can. If you have TRX straps, that is best case scenario, because that will actually give you something steady to hold on to. Otherwise, we just want to make sure that those heels are on the ground. And we're just going to do that slight rock back and forth. This is fantastic for opening up those hips or stretching out the ankles with that small little rock back and forth. I love this position, especially after a long run. This always feels so good. Good, just nice, soft and gentle. If you want to make it a little bit more challenging, you can keep those hands out in front of you. Good, couple more seconds here. Okay, we're going to stay in this low position. We're just going to walk our feet underneath us. We're going to allow those heels to come up at this time. We're going to be stretching out the toes. So I'm going to take one knee, push it forward. You can almost think about taking your heel and pushing it forward as well. If you have really good toe flexibility, you can bring that knee down more, but my toes are pretty stiff, so I'm just lifting that heel up, and I'm just going back and forth. I'm trying to keep all of my toes on the ground, and I'm just lifting it up. We want to make sure that we're not, turning in and letting the smaller toes come off. Preferably, we want to try to keep those on the ground. My family has a history of plantar fasciitis. So doing this has helped prevent it, and it helps high arches as well, because I have very high arches, and sometimes that can come with a lot of pain. So just making sure that those toes are stretched out helps out a lot, just because those muscles that move the toes are the same muscles that are on the bottom of your foot and on the bottom of your arch. So if your toe muscles are super tight, it's going to tighten that arch as well. So like I said, it's just one big chain. One small little thing can move its way up. Okay, from here, we're going to bring those feet a little bit wider, bring those heels to the ground. We're going to return back into that low squat position, but we're going to put our hands by our feet. You can't reach it, you can keep your hands out in front of you, but we're going to lift the hips up, straightening out those legs. You should feel a good stretch in the back of those hamstrings, and then we're just going to sink back down into that low squat, keeping that chest up high. This is called a king squat. And we're just going to go back and forth. Try to keep your back nice and flat the whole time. Love the stretch of the hamstring this provides. A couple more times. Okay, we're going to bring one knee down to the ground. We're going to take that other leg and we're going to straighten it out. We're going to place the hands out in front and we're going to rock back, feeling a nice stretch in the back and lats. Gonna feel it all the way into that inner thigh. And then we're gonna come back up. And we are just gonna rock back and forth. Again, just nice and easy. One more time. Awesome. From here, we're going to do some T rotations. So having that hand right underneath the shoulders, we're reaching up as far as we can towards the sky, and then we're tucking it underneath, reaching as far as we can. But we're going to keep the supporting arm right here nice and straight. Reaching up, reaching through. Good, do it again. Oh, you'll really feel this in the middle part of your back. This is really good for posture, just because our lower back, that is the most mobile part of our back. Because if we're looking around and twisting, it's our lower back twisting. We don't actually twist our upper back nearly as much. So that's why this movement is important. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side. We're going to start with that first movement of just rocking forward and back. We're going to reach those hands out as far as we can. So that way when we are in this back position, we're stretching out those lats. More times. Perfect. Coming up, hands right underneath the shoulders. We got that T rotation, stretching up towards the sky, reaching through. Keeping that core tight, keeping that back nice and flat. Okay, we are going to lay down on our stomach. Let me move this microphone real quick. It's on the ground for now. But we're going to have our hands directly out from our shoulders. We're going to take one leg, flipping it over. If you can touch the ground, that's perfect. If not, feel free to leave it in the air. But we're gonna try to keep those hands planted and keep the shoulders as close to the ground as possible. It's gonna be a really good stretch for that back. One more. One time on each side. Perfect, okay. Staying down in this position, we're gonna put our hands up like a goalpost, so at a 90-degree angle. So from here, we're just going to lift the hands and the elbows off the ground and bring them back down. We're gonna want those hands and those elbows at the same height. We don't wanna be either way. We want it nice and flat. We're squeezing those shoulder blades. This is strengthening really small muscles in your back and your shoulders. But this is really important muscles for posture and just really good back and shoulder health. Try to keep your chest as low to the ground as possible. One more time. Good. Now we're going to keep our elbows and hands off the ground like they're sitting on a table. We're going to bring the elbows down as far as we can and then reach up above our head. And we're just going back and forth, just like we're wiping down the table. The key for this is we want to keep those shoulders down the whole time. Even when we are reaching up above our head, we don't want those shoulders by the ears. We want to keep those shoulders down and a nice long neck. I used to have shoulder issues, but since doing this, it's really helped. Good. Go ahead and relax for a second. You can rock back and forth if you need it. We're gonna have one more mobility movement on the back here. We are going to have our hands up by that goalpost again. We're gonna bring both hands behind our back, palms facing up, trying to touch your hands together, and then bringing it to your ears. Now, if you can't touch your hands, that's totally okay. Just get as close as you can. If you are more of an advanced person, try not to touch your back when you touch your hands together. It's really difficult, but really good strengthening exercise. A couple more times. Really feeling the burn. Those shoulders are on fire. Good. Go ahead and relax. Coming up into Cobra. Moving those shoulders side to side, just loosening everything out. Okay. Very last one. Put this microphone back on me. We're gonna stretch out the shoulders. So we're gonna lay to the side. If you have a pillow or a yoga block, you can use it. But we're gonna have both arms straight. Keep the shoulders stacked on top of each other the whole time. Bringing just that arm back. Feel a good stretch in the front shoulder and into that chest. And then close that book. Open it up. Close that book. Big key for this movement. Don't let that shoulder drop down, because then that's going to switch to a back movement. We want to keep it all in that shoulder and chest. You guys are doing good. We're almost there. One more time. Awesome. Roll to the other side. Let's finish this off. Same thing. Arms straight. Reaching back, keeping those shoulders stacked on top of each other. Reaching forward. We want to do it nice, slow and steady. One more time. Perfect. Go ahead and relax. That is going to be your mobility routine for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you later.